Hello and welcome to Boomer Live once again, ladies and gentlemen. And on today's show, we have a new guest here with us, Alia, joining us. And as you see the title, we're going to be talking about the Champions League. The quarterfinal draws are out, and obviously, we're going to analyze the draws, predict what's going to happen. Yeah, just to let you all know, Alia is a Madrid fan. So, if at all, that's the reason we got
Yeah,
her on
my
the show.
opinions might just be very, very, very biased, and y'all are gonna have to, put up with it without causing a scene, hopefully, in the comments, because I love Madrid and I do not, ever plan on hiding it. So obviously, my opinions are gonna go like in that direction. I do not, in whatsoever, plan on being unbiased. And with that, I'm very excited for this episode because maybe I can finally start the rant that I've been holding in this entire evening about how this particular fixture, Madrid versus Man City, is just giving me post traumatic disorder. Not
Okay,
even
that's a good
kidding.
start for Alia on the show already. I mean, she has gotten off to a very good debut already. I don't have to give any further introductions, guys. You know, she's a Madrid fan, and you need a Madrid fan when you're talking about Champions League because that's where Champions League royalty lies. But yeah, interesting draws for a long time. Everyone were expecting, bad draws in round of 16. People weren't happy about it, but interesting draws from a neutral perspective, at least. You're going to get some nail biting finishes. You already saw them in round of 16. Two of the games went to penalties. It's after a long, long time Champions League games going to penalties, and you saw it back-to-back games go to penalties with Inter and Atletico, and also with Arsenal and Porto for that matter. But yeah, we'll just display the draws on the screen for you all to see how the draws stand at this point. Yeah, as you see, it is Atletico taking on Borussia Dortmund on one side of the bracket, with PSG taking on Barcelona, and on the other side of the bracket, you have Arsenal taking on Bayern Munich and Real Madrid taking on City. Ali has already given her thoughts about City versus Real Madrid, but we will talk about it. We'll start off with, maybe we'll come to Madrid, but let's not jump to Madrid straight away. Let's talk about maybe the small fixture, then we'll go to the big one. Dortmund was
Yeah, works for me. Where do you want to start? Because I've got an opinion to share on every single one of these fixtures, and
yeah,
I cannot wait to give my unsolicited opinion.
great. Then in that case, you know what? We'll start with Dortmund versus Atletico Madrid. I mean, Atletico Madrid just coming off a fantastic comeback win against Inter Milan. I mean, you had to say it was Diego Simeone's masterclass, and Griezmann absolutely stepping up. On the other side of the spectrum, yeah, you can say Dortmund had a decent game against PSV, but they managed it, and they are doing decently well in the Champions League, though. In Bundesliga, they've been horrific. Horror. They've been a horror in Bundesliga. So that's what I would like to say. What do you make of this fixture in particular? Because I think this is a very good draw for Atletico Madrid, and they have very good opportunity to play another final if you look at the bracket.
Okay, I'm gonna be very honest here. Some of the matches I did not obviously get time to see, so I'm gonna give my opinion based off on the highlights I saw. Because obviously I saw the Madrid games as well as the City games, but I just did not get time to get towards the others. So I would say that I'm pretty I'm gonna start by saying I'm pretty disappointed with this draw because I really, really, really wanted Madrid to face Atletico in the semis. Call it redemption, call it, revenge served cold, but I really wanted them to get there. And let's face it, Atletico has not had the best reputation when it comes to, Madrid in the past. I mean, I think starting from 2013 to 2014, they lost to Madrid in the UCL finals. And I think consistently since then, if I'm not wrong, they've just been losing. It's either in the finals or it's in in a penalty shootout or in the semis and all of that. So I
Yeah.
kind of really wanted to see a repeat of that because I just think it would have been really hilarious. And as a Madrid fan, again, I'm evil. I'm very evil like that. So definitely Atletico, I'd say they're not particularly in form right now. Like they're all right. They could be better. And Dortmund, let's face it, they haven't really been, much of a dominant side like this entire season. So they're doing all right. They could do better. But yeah, I'm predicting maybe, I don't know. I'd say an overall 2-1 loss. Atletico wins. So yeah,
Atletico wins or Atletico loses? Atletico loses, right?
Atletico wins 2-1
Atletico wins. So Azil says
both the
Dortmund
legs.
going through 100%. Okay, I think that's also because everybody wants to see Dortmund in the semi-final, right? They're the good guys. Among everybody in
Hmm.
that particular draw, everybody wants an underdog story of Dortmund because they've not really made a final in a decade or so, right? They've last made the final when? In 2013. And at that point, we were all pretty much young kids, and we have not seen a Dortmund dominant since then in the Champions League. But if you look at Atletico, just to finish off by talking about the fixture, you've already given your prediction. I personally feel as well this is a very good opportunity for an Atletico team to maybe go again to the semi-finals and upset a few. Who knows? I mean, I had someone predict earlier this season that Atletico is winning the Champions League. I mean, at that point, I laughed it off. But now looking at the side of the
I'm
draw,
laughing it off right now. It's not possible. I'm sorry, it's just not.
I mean,
No,
you
absolutely
never
not.
know.
So let's face it, even if Atletico gets past Dortmund, PSG, and this shit show team we call Barcelona these days, they've got to face. Okay, I'm not really worried about. So keeping it PG-13, Arsenal, because everyone like. All of my friends know that this is not what I call the team. So this is me being nice to Arsenal. So even if Atletico, get past the teams on their side, there's no way that they're gonna last even for let's say 30 minutes against City, Bayern, and or especially Real Madrid. So I'm just gonna laugh it off right now, and yeah, that's about it.
Okay, we have some predictions already coming. Nabil says Atletico is firstly losing, and secondly Dortmund versus Barca semi. Okay, that's a good prediction. But either ways, we'll go to the second fixture on that particular bracket. We'll go by bracket versus bracket. That is PSG taking on Barcelona. I mean, good amount of history there among the two teams. Last time around, Barca were walloped by PSG in the Champions League when I think it was Messi's second last season. Last
Yeah,
season
I
rather.
think
Messi's last
yeah,
season.
and I think it was 4 years ago if I'm not wrong, right?
Yeah, it
They
was
got
3 years
like
ago.
wrecked.
It was 2021, right? 2021 was the time when they knocked
Right.
Barcelona
My
out.
bad.
And either
Yeah.
ways, it was a bad loss. You saw Angel Di Maria scoring in that game. You saw Mbappe doing well in that game, and Barca had no answers to it. But now, Barca did decently well against Napoli coming into this fixture. But on the other side of the spectrum, it is also Luis Enrique coming up to face Barcelona. It's another good story. Dembele coming to play in Barcelona. So a lot of stories and plot twists within that particular fixture. But let's talk about this particular fixture in terms of form of two teams. Because if you look at Barcelona, injury overload at this point. They have no idea. Every person who's stepping on the field is trying to get injured. They're fielding in 16, 17-year-old kids and then trying to get results out of it. I mean, Kubarsi had a phenomenal game, right? I mean, he was outstanding against Napoli. A 17-year-old kid to get a man of the match in the Champions League debut. Outstanding. Lamine Yamal has been good. But with PSG, a decent game, you can say they getting through to this particular stage, and it look like PSG are comfortable at this point of stage from what they were at the start of the season. How do you see this fixture, Alia?
See, again, I didn't think I was gonna say this, but I feel like I don't really have much to comment because anything can happen. Because as much, I agree. Like PSG, they're good right now. They've got Mbappe, and at the same time, Barcelona, like you mentioned, injury overload. But at the same time, Barca like just gave the much needed comeback, and I don't think anyone saw that coming, let alone like the Barcelona fans themselves. Because
Yeah,
I've got friends who are hardcore Barcelona supporters, and they did not expect it either. Like they came up to me and they were like, you know what, you're never gonna hear it from me again. But we didn't expect to see Barcelona advance after all these years, like to the semis again. So I feel like they've got what it needs. They've just got to make good use of it. And again, they can do it. If they really try, they can do it. So at the end of the day, it's PSG and Barcelona. They've got like a bunch of youngsters. They've got players who can support the team, who can probably get them up there in the finals. So yeah, that's
absolutely.
about
I
it.
mean, you rightly mentioned the right amount of personnel, and who other than Lewandowski, right? He's just hitting form after having a horror season thus far. I mean, he was just missing sitters, right, in the first half of the season. Maybe in the second half of the season, he's slowly gaining confidence. And you can see when Lewandowski does well, this team is all of a sudden looking like a team who can score goals. Other than that, they don't have any
Absolutely.
support because that's one thing about Barcelona because they don't have a goal scorer, right? You can say once upon a time they had a Luis Suarez. Then they had Messi who took up that mantle for a longest period of time, even when Suarez was not there, right? But after that, what you're seeing with Barcelona in the recent past is last season, when they won the league, you saw Lewandowski score goals, and this season primarily they are number two and number three on the league. That's because they have not had that goal scorer, and the defense has been shaky as well. How do you see Lewandowski's form being a factor in this particular fixture?
See, I'm just gonna say there's just one word for him, that's mint. Lua is just too good right now, and he's basically just carrying the team. So that's all I
Yeah.
have to say, honestly, because again, like I said, Barcelona is not the team that I've been focusing on. So the opinions that I've been giving right now is based off of, like uh the highlights and all of that I've been watching, and like the news. So I'm just gonna say Lewandowski, he's mint right now. So I think he has the potential to get Barcelona all the way in front. But then again, he needs the support of his team in order to do that. They need a solid plan. They need a good startup. And if they do that, and there's no doubt that, they can go up till the finals.
I mean, good point. I mean, so Michael Andrew says Barca can do it first. First leg is away and second leg is at home is an advantage Barca. I mean, that's right. I mean, first leg is in Parc de France and the second leg is in Barcelona's home ground. So that's a big advantage for Barcelona, especially for a team like Barcelona. They'd won that second leg at home, and considering that they don't concede a lot in the first leg. Like if you're going 3-0 down in the first leg, in second leg, it's like a lot to ask for, and that's not going to be an easy task for any team for
Yeah,
that
I'm just
matter.
gonna say they aren't Madrid. They aren't the miracle club. So it's not something
Yeah.
Barcelona can pull off. Sorry, just had to put that there. You gave me an opening, I had to use
As a
it.
true Madrid fan, whenever a person hears a Barcelona name, just can't, have to plug it in at some stage. But let's go to
I've
the.
got to. I
I
was
mean,
trying
I
to
want to
hold
ask you
back,
this
but
particular point, right, of PSG as well. I mean, we'll not talk about PSG. We spoke about Barcelona, but one point about PSG. Let's go to that point where I feel Dembele, had a fiasco, right, in Barcelona when he left. He did not leave in good terms, and the fans aren't happy about him. Everything is just not going well. Is it time for him to redeem himself and say, if I score in Champions League away from home in Barcelona's home turf, I mean, there is no better way for me than to be received among the PSG fans.
I feel like absolutely, like 100%. But I don't think that's all it takes. Because again, at the end of the day, Champions League isn't everything. So you've got to prove yourself in like various stages of other competitions as well. And it's something I personally do not think that he's been doing. So of course, we'll give him the credit when it comes to the Champions League if he proves himself, but I do not think that that's all that's gonna take for him to in fact redeem himself. I feel like it's gonna take a lot more, and it's gonna take a while for him to do that.
What about Mbappe? Because he's never won a Champions League with PSG, and most he's leaving the club, right? And what
Hmm.
better terms than to leave the club on a high and to win the Champions League and leave it? I mean, PSG fans will be happy if you can give them their first ever Champions League and then to leave the doors, right? He's chasing obviously his dream club in Madrid. Obviously, we'll talk about it as when we talk about Madrid, but before that, for Mbappe
Hmm.
himself, it's such a big moment in his career to carry this team and to make them win a Champions League. He'll go down in history as possibly the greatest if he can get that.
Absolutely. Because again, I feel like at this point, PSG is really just relying on the likes of Mbappe, and he's carrying the team forward. And we have seen this on so many occasions. Like even if we talk about the past fixture, I know it was years ago, but we've got to talk about it when PSG, really annihilated Barcelona at Camp Nou. And again, I think it was Mbappe with a hat trick, if I'm not wrong,
Yeah,
and
I remember that game. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. It was Mbappe with a hat trick and Messi with just one goal. So at that point, if he could, get through Barcelona, who had Leo, and I think at that point Barcelona was a very strong team. So right now, like all these years later, he has the potential to take PSG forward, especially when Barcelona's got like an injury overload, and they haven't really been performing. So I feel like this is a golden opportunity for him, and it cannot get better than this. So if Mbappe, manages to tackle this stage and get PSG up there, even to the finals, it's gonna be like a very big achievement for him, like in his books. So yeah,
Absolutely. I mean, that's a good point because, see, if you win in Madrid, obviously you're remembered as one of them, right? But if you can win in PSG, obviously the streets are going to remember. The world is going to remember you for what you did in PSG because you're going to be the first ever player to win it and to carry the team. Obviously, the manager will get credit, everybody will get credit, but Mbappe will be remembered for that success in PSG, and that's where you're going to be termed as the greatest. He took that PSG team to win. Remember, this PSG team is not the most star-studded PSG teams we've seen in the recent past. We've had a PSG team with Messi, Neymar, and Mbappe starting. And if you look at this PSG team, it is nothing like it. I mean, you can say it's not even a patch of what the PSG team was a couple of seasons ago.
absolutely.
So for him, it's a big moment. But that's where I'll ask you the prediction. What do you see? Is it a Barca win, or do you see where do you edge towards in this particular fixture?
I have a feeling the first leg is going to end in a draw, probably 1-all. And the second leg, I feel like PSG might win 3-1.
Oh, that you're saying the PSG will win in Barcelona's home ground, 3-1.
Yeah, absolutely. They have the potential and
Okay, I
they've got
don't
to
take
do
this
this.
seriously at this point because you're talking about you're a Madrid fan. That's why I don't take this seriously. I'm joking.
I'm just giving my unsolicited opinion, so that's all I'm going to
Yeah.
say.
Either ways, I think it's about time we go to the fixture. I think we'll go to City versus Madrid, then we'll come to Arsenal versus Bayern. We'll go to
No,
the
no, no. Let's go to the Arsenal versus Bayern, and then City
okay. I think then
versus
we'll
Madrid
give
is
a
going to be
whole
last.
whole time towards the end to just talk about City versus Madrid
Absolutely,
because see, I'm a
absolutely.
City fan. She's a Madrid fan, so there's no better way to
You
come
are
and
uncultured. You are
yeah.
uncultured, is what.
Yeah, so we'll talk about it. We'll talk about in detail.
Yeah.
Arsenal versus Bayern. Arsenal just scraping through to their first ever quarterfinal in 14 years. I mean, first they made the Champions League in 8 years, and after that, to make it the first ever quarterfinal in 14 years, that's a big achievement. I mean, they were falling short in the knockouts and European competitions time and time again. And finally, finally, they have something to really rejoice about, something to cheer about. And it was a nerve wracking game, let's be honest. It was 1-all
Mhm.
going into penalties. It could have gone either way, but David Raya stepping up at the right time for the Arsenal men. And on the other side of the spectrum, just look at Bayern Munich. They lost to Lazio, and everybody were like, oh, no, what? Thomas Tuchel needs to be sacked. And obviously, it's never easy to defeat Bayern Munich at Allianz Arena. They've lost multiple games in the first leg and have come to wall up teams in the second leg, as they always do. And Harry Kane stepping up for them. I mean, you have to say this could be a classic or a one-sided affair.
Well, for for one, I guess this is the game where I would say anything could happen. I wish I could say that about Madrid and City, but let's face it, Arsenal versus Bayern, it's like very unsure because all that you mentioned, Arsenal, they've just been scraping through, but at the end of the day, they've come up. On the other hand, maybe if you had asked me if these fixtures were out a couple of months ago, even like 2, 3 months ago, and I was here, I would say, Bayern's going to win with ease. I mean, come on, at the end of the day, it's Bayern. Like, they're unbeatable. And, apart from Madrid, of course, who've beaten them on multiple occasions, but at the end of the day, it's Bayern Munich. And they're going to win easy. But with the way that they've been playing right now, it is absolutely, I don't have any words for it, but I just never thought I would see Bayern in such bad light because they've been winning the Bundesliga title for what, 10 years now? It would have
Yeah.
been their 11th. Now, I don't know if it's the Harry Kane curse or if it's just Thomas Tuchel, just fucking the team up and about. But we just know that Bayern is just not who they used to be. They're not who they're remembered as, and at least this is not what I remember. When I used to watch Bayern, I was all like, okay, you know what, it's Bayern, they've got to win, they're doing real well no matter what. Like you mentioned, they're gonna come back on top. But let's just say the past game, who did they play in the last round?
Lazio, Lazio.
Yeah, exactly. So let's face it, we did not expect, I personally did not expect that comeback. I did not think that, they would, clutch in, come, and whether it was Hurricane or what, I just did not personally think that Bayern were capable of making that comeback, and they did. And even if they get past Arsenal, which I feel like there's like 60-40 chance here, 60 towards Bayern, 40 Arsenal, even if they win, I doubt that they'd able be able to get past the rest of the group, that's either City or Real Madrid. So I feel like Bayern's story is just going to end in the semis over here. This is the one club which is not going to advance. I can say it with confidence, it's not going to advance
So you're
towards
saying
the
that Bayern
final.
Munich will lose to Arsenal in the quarterfinal and they will not make it to the semis.
uh yes, I feel like there's a
Wow.
60-40
Bold
chance.
prediction. Bold prediction already. I mean, I just have a feeling, looking at what Arsenal's history has been in knockouts and what Bayern has done to Arsenal, first, that's a mental factor. I know this is a different Arsenal team. They've got the mentality, everything agreed. But to win in Allianz Arena, as I mentioned, it's not an easy thing. If Bayern does what they do the best in Allianz Arena, you know that it's going to be hostile. It's going to be hostile for Bayern Munich or for Arsenal, and the atmosphere in Alliance Arena is the biggest factor here, right? We're not even talking about the other factors here. We're not even talking about the
Yeah,
factors of what might just happen if Arsenal win in Alliance Arena, but just talking about the normal factors what we have in hand. That is Arsenal's previous record, and I think they're playing in Alliance Arena in their first game. Then they go to play. No, I think they're playing in the Emirates the first game, and then they go to play in Alliance Arena. So that's how it is
yeah,
gonna be.
yeah,
So which means again, even if Bayern loses in the first leg, until unless they lose by like 3-0 or 4-0, if it is
yeah.
2-all or 2-1 or a 2-0 win for Arsenal, I still think Bayern can come back. And that's the belief they'll have in Alliance Arena. With Arsenal, we know they tend to crumble under pressure. This is the same team who
Absolutely.
crumbled under pressure the last season. We're talking about a team which had 7 point lead in Premier League. And for them to
Yeah.
crumble,
Through
I'm sorry to say,
bottlers.
but they are chokers, right? At the end of the day, they've
Yeah.
got this chokers tag in the recent past, and it's not easy. I mean, even this season, they've done well, but come the nervy moments, they still look very, very jittery. You're telling me that Arsenal is like not a good team against Porto. See, they won in penalties at the end of the day. Arsenal have been wallocking
Yeah.
teams left, right, and center in the Premier League, and all of a sudden they're like, oh, wow, Arsenal is back, right? But come a Champions League knockout, they've been struggling. They found it so difficult to score in Porto. Come to the game in Emirates. If not for Trossard's magic, I think at that point, or for David Raya saving them, this could have easily been Arsenal kicked out of the Champions League once again. So I am predicting a Bayern Munich win here, a 3-1 Bayern Munich aggregate score, and Mueller has already challenged Kai Havertz and boys to will meet them there. So I think knowing Bayern Munich, they know when to step up at the right time, right? But I know why you're saying Arsenal, because it'll be an easy fixture compared to Bayern in the semi-final for you. But anyways,
Again, need I remind you that it's Real Madrid? And yes, last year we were a little bit of a letdown, but the year before that we came all up. Okay, so it's not really about who's gonna be easy to face in the semis, because I know for one that if we get past City, we can get past anyone in the league. So that's it.
but
That's about it.
you didn't mention about Arsenal winning, right? So you have any scoreline predictions about it?
Arsenal and Bayern.
Yeah,
Huh. I have a feeling Arsenal might win 2-1.
2-1. That's an aggregate. That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's decent. Now let's go to the main fixture, which we've been all talking about, been all waiting about. I think this is the fixture we wanted to talk from the start. It is City taking on
Hmm.
Real Madrid. You can say cut two of where they left off in the last 3 seasons, because last 3 seasons at some point these two teams were met. Last time around and the season before that in the semi-final, Real Madrid had one and City have equalized with one, so it's 1-all in terms of ties in the last 2 seasons. And now coming to the round three of the show, right? The most important. It's a quarterfinal clash this time. City, not in top of Premier League table for this time around, but Real Madrid are
Thank
on top
God
of the
for that.
the
Thank God for
you know
that. But I'm not going to comment because the leagues that are on top aren't my favorite either. So it just really doesn't affect me. Even just I'm not even going to focus on the Premier League. My sole focus is on Real Madrid for the entirety of the season.
Absolutely. I think we'll talk about Madrid. How do you see Real Madrid so far in the season? I mean, are you happy with them, or do you see that okay, we're managing to get wins, so as long as we're managing to get wins, we'll just carry on with it.
Well, see, I have everyone knows this, and this is not me being biased. If you're like if you watch football, you know the game. You know that Madrid have especially been exceptional this season, especially after injuries. And the most important one being Thibaut Courtois. And after honestly, after he was out, I had lost hope. I'm sure, as did the rest of the Madridistas as well, because again, he's our wall. He's basically our wall, and it was hard to put anything past him. But when he went out with injury, obviously it was a shocking moment for all of us, and we did not expect anyone to be able to take his place, but they did. And right now, even with the after all those injuries with Winnie and Rodrigo, and Militao being out for like a majority of the season, uh, I feel like we've really come in clutch and we're doing exceptionally well. And we somehow managed to win like every last Champions League fixture. So, gonna keep my fingers crossed and hopes up that we, proceed with the
Yeah,
streak.
talking
So,
about
yeah.
which, it's not like Madrid. If you look at their comebacks in particular, it's all been Bernabeu in the second leg, right? And
Mm-hmm.
it's always worked well for them. But once again, like the last season around, the first leg is in Bernabeu and second leg is in Etihad. So it's not the most convenient fixture for Madrid if you look at the tie in itself. So
I didn't know
once again,
that. I
last
didn't know
season,
the second picture was an Etihad. You've thrown me off guard.
yeah, the second leg is in Etihad. So that is something which I know the shocker already is there in your face. But the fact of the matter is,
Shit.
just talking about that particular.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I shouldn't have put this. Okay, I think it's the right time to put it. I mean, you have to face the reality. But how do you see it? Because last time around, you saw a one-all game going into
Mm-hmm.
Etihad, and it was all good, right, for the first 20 minutes. Then you saw
Mm-hmm.
City run riot at Madrid, and that was
Dude,
possibly Madrid's
City.
worst game of the entire season last time around. And you could
Absolutely.
have asked for
Absolutely.
anything worse than that.
Yeah, and I don't think anyone expected it, least of all us, because again, it's Madrid. We call ourselves the Miracle Club. So obviously, why do you think I've been mentioning that this fixture in particular has been giving me PTSD? It's because I, I am still not over the semifinals from last season, and I feel like that was the absolute worst performance Madrid has ever put up. And I've been watching them play for 11 years now, and it's got to be pretty big if I say this, because in the entirety of 11 years, Madrid has never personally disappointed me. I love the club. I've been with them through thick, thin, whatever, but this particular match just had me fuming, and I was convinced that the only way for Madrid to get back on the high horse of theirs was to get Don Carlo fired. And I was like, you know what, this is the only way, because what the hell shit strategy that is. He stands on the sidelines, he does nothing but raise an eyebrow, and that's about it. But then I realized that our players were just lacking motivation, and let's play the main factor in. City was exceptional. As a Real Madrid and United coming in second fan, you won't hear me saying this often, but Man City
Yeah.
has was honestly exceptional last season. Kevin De Bruyne, Foden, Rodrigo, all of them, even Grealish for that matter, who drank his liver out the very
Yeah, yeah.
next day.
He was phenomenal in that particular game, the semi-final especially. I mean, him as a ball
Exactly.
carrier really worked well for them. But let's come to City of this season. It's not the City of last season, right? They've had few issues, they've had few transfers, especially with Gundogan leaving, left a big hole. KDB not being
Mhm.
100% fit has been a concern for City. I mean, he's also left out of the Belgium squad for the international
Right.
friendlies before the Champions League as well,
Mhm.
hoping that he recovers. But KDB, with
No, I really
KDB,
hope
this
he
team
doesn't
looks so
though.
much more. Yeah, but yeah, either ways, the fact of the matter is, coming back to City with KDB, City with informed
Mhm.
Rodri is so much better, and City all of a sudden without KDB looks like they've lost the bite, right? But
Absolutely.
one interesting factor they've had this season is Foden's form. Foden has been like
It's too
on
good.
next level this season. He's really taken up the mantle. He's been versatile. He can play on the wings. He can play through the middle. He can play through both the flanks. He can be a false nine at times, right behind Holland. Give him that support which he needs. And Foden has had a breakthrough season thus far. You saw that in the derby as well, right? How good he was.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
how do you see the
But
City team now? If KDB is back. Let's just assume KDB is back, right? At least he'll be back for the
Mm-hmm.
second leg, the return leg in Etihad. I'm pretty sure he'll be back by then at least. KDB,
Yeah, for
Rodri,
sure.
and with
Mhm.
Foden and then Bernardo, I think most likely Doku will be there, and Julian Alvarez for sure over Doku, and then Haaland. It's a different look City team, unlike last time, but still the core remains the same. And strategy is something which you might get surprised because last time around Pep started with this 3-2-2-2-1 formation with the game against Madrid, and Don Carlo was thrown out of the window. I mean, he had no idea what was happening because John Stones all of a sudden started moving up the field. So that's exactly what happened in the second leg of last season. But this time around,
Mhm.
as we know about Pep, he doesn't reveal the tricks until the time has come. Do you think something Pep is already preparing for, or do you see, Ancelotti saying that, you know what, I'm the more experienced one here. I'll pull one out of my hat right here.
Um, y'all can't see it right now, but I've got the anxiety sweats already as you were mentioning all of this because it just made me realize how good City is. And yeah, well, Pep, that ball bastard, well, he's always got something up his sleeve. He's always got, you know, a good plan. But at the same time, I don't think seniority matters over here because let's face it, Pep's plan was much better than Don Carlos last season. So seniority is of no question over here. Anyone can do it, dude. Like absolutely. But over here, I feel like Don Carlo has got City is not as good as they were, but they're still good because at the end of the day, they're City. They come in clutch when you absolutely need it, and no one expects it, but they're there. And like you said, Foden's form has been absolutely exceptional this season, and that's something you won't catch me admitting often. So I feel like personally, Don Carlo has got to make a lot of changes to Madrid if they have like any shot of winning. And I feel like we've got to give it everything that we have, especially in the first leg because we've got that advantage. We've got the
Yep.
home advantage. We've got to give it all that we can. And let's face it, it's going to be absolutely shameful if we've got Jude, Vinny, Kamavinga, and Rodrigo and all of that, starting and we do not put up a performance. So I feel like the first leg, Don Carlo has absolutely, got to come up with a plan. He's got to come in clutch. He's got to, make sure that he plays the home advantage. Make sure the Madrid boys are all fueled up, and I feel like they've got to really attack over here rather than play defensive.
My question is,
Because
do they even need motivation, right? They can just look at the trophy cabinet and be like, we're a legacy club. We've been there, done it. That's been the case with Madrid, right? I mean, let's just not, when you talk about Madrid, it's UCL royalty. And there's a reason they have won 14 titles. Regardless of what you say about the first five, they've at least won nine. Let's take out the first five if you don't want. They still have the most number of titles. I mean, whatever
yes,
people
but
might say, they still have the most number of titles, and they won the most in the last 1 decade. And it's all because
absolutely.
of what they've done time and time again. But
Hmm.
now I'm asking is Jude Bellingham, the factor of Jude Bellingham, how big is that going to be? Because I remember the game which Bellingham played against City when he was playing for Dortmund in the last year's group stage. He was man of the match. I mean, he was exemplary. I mean, he looked like he bossed the midfield. I mean, that's going to be a major factor once again. And Pep Guardiola will be aware of him.
Feel like the answer's in your statement, man. I mean, come on. If you think Jude can win the man of the match with Dortmund and City, then you cannot even start to imagine what he's capable of doing with players like Vinny, Camavinga, Rodrigo, and all of that backing him. Like Real Madrid right now is airtight. And I feel like it's definitely gonna give Jude an opportunity to shine, and he should most definitely take it. We should make the most of the first leg advantage because
Mhm.
let's face it, in the second leg, like last season, I don't have much hopes. I absolutely love
Okay,
Madrid,
I'll ask you a
but
question here.
City scares me.
You being
City scares me, and
you being a say, a Madrid fan, would you want to see Atletico in the final, or would you want to see Barca in the final with you?
that's a good question, huh? You know what? I want to see Barcelona in the finals so that we go on to win, and I can basically just prove what I've always been saying: Madrid over Barcelona any freaking day. We
I think
rule
Madrid
Europe.
Barca finals, I think Madrid has had the edge over them quite a lot. I think that's where Madrid has really been better of Barca in the finals, especially in finals. Copa del Rey for that
Hmm.
matter, or even the Super Cup where they play, right? In Saudi
Hmm.
once in a while. I don't even know what's that. what's the point of that cup? But either ways, uh, they always have had that particular edge over them in
They
the
just like
recent past.
collecting trophies. At this point, Madrid, it doesn't matter where they're playing. They just like having a trophy on their
Yeah,
cabinet,
they
and
like.
that's good
I mean,
enough for
that's
me.
legacy at the end of the day, right? You're talking about legacy club, and Madrid are a legacy
Hmm.
club. And I think this fixture in
Absolutely.
particular is a 50-50. Last time around, I could say it was 65-35 or 60-40. I would have still given edge to City because I knew it. But being a City fan
Hmm.
myself, I personally think it's a 50-50 fixture because I know what Madrid
Absolutely.
can do. But my only
Yeah.
hope is, my only happiness is this: the second leg is not in Bernabeu, because I know I'd be shit scared if it was in Bernabeu, because I have been in that particular position a couple of seasons ago, right? We took that lead with
Uh-huh.
Mahrez scoring, and what happened was just something which I don't want to even remember. You talk about the 4-0 embarrassment, after having a lead and bottling it in the last 5 minutes is worse. And so
Absolutely.
that's just traumatic. So last time, even
Yeah.
when we had that 4-0 lead, I was like, you know what, let the game just get over. Let the final whistle come. Then we'll just
Yeah.
relax.
Oh, a very funny story. I guess that was in the 20, so this is 2024, 23. That was the 22 semis, if I'm not wrong, right?
Yeah, 22 semis.
And I saw Madrid losing and I could not take it. I was like, there's no freaking way this is happening. I had tears in my eyes. I turned off my laptop and I'm like, there's no way I'm watching this. Like, absolutely not. Fuck it. Okay, you know what? City is just going to advance. Fair enough. It's all right. We've been winning. We've
Yeah,
been doing our thing. Let's just allow another team to take it this time.
yeah, yeah.
And to my bad luck, I turned off my laptop and I fell asleep. And I woke up like 2 hours later to my phone just, vibrating off my bed. And I was like, what the hell is going on? And all of my friends were like, dude, did you see that? And whatnot. And I was like, all ready to reply to them. I'm like, yeah, yeah, fair enough. Okay, City won, whatever. It's all right. Just get on with your lives. But then I saw the result just pop up on my screen, and I'm like, what the hell? I thought I was dreaming. Then I went back, I watched the highlights, and I sat in silence for 30 minutes. I was like, did this just happen? And I was just beating myself over this. I was like, okay, you know what, Alia, lesson learned. And from now on, all I've got to do is, wait until the last minute, because at the end of the day, Madrid is a miracle club and they're gonna come in clutch. They're gonna do something. And that's
Absolutely.
exactly what
I mean,
happened.
that season was the definition of a miracle club, right? That season,
Absolutely.
you just saw the impossible. The Chelsea game, the PSG game, the City game. It was meant for Madrid to win. It was written in the stars. If anybody had a dream
Hmm.
run, obviously we talk about Benzema, Modric, etc., etc. But that season, Madrid was on another level. I've never seen a
I
football
swear.
team make comebacks like that ever in my life.
Yeah.
And that's when I really realized, wait a minute, there's something about this team, right? I'm not even talking about tactics deployed by Carlo Ancelotti. It is a belief within the players which takes that team forward. And in sports, we often talk
Absolutely.
about the belief in the team, changing room atmosphere. These are minor factors we think, but no, these are major factors. And if you look at Madrid,
Hmm.
tactically, I would say City are much dominant. Tactically, they are much more affluent, I believe, in this fixture. But
Hmm.
belief, confidence, and fans, all along, I think that's going to be where City will
Real
have to
Madrid.
come to. And that's where
Exactly.
it's going to be a 50-50 blockbuster on the
Hmm.
cards. And I don't think there's I don't want to predict about this. Us being
Hmm.
this, I know we have our own bias predictions. So let's just leave it on a tie. I think we will talk about this fixture the night prior to this game. We'll do a full on preview of this fixture. Maybe then we can see
Absolutely.
away from it or
And
review.
another point I would like to add is that the main reason I need Madrid to, just grab that trophy this season is because, like, everyone knows it's going to be Luca Antoni's last season, at least Luca Modric's last season at Madrid. And I need him to go out
But
in
how
style.
many
Like,
trophies for what? He
I
already
will
has five
absolutely,
of them. Why does he
I
want
will throw
more?
a tantrum. I will throw a tantrum if they're not gonna win. If Luca does not go out with the 15th in hand, I will most
Choose one,
definitely throw a
La Liga or
tantrum.
Champions League.
Champions League.
Okay, that's fair. That's every Madrid fan. That's it. I mean,
Yeah,
they like
exactly.
competition so much. I mean,
Yeah.
we don't even
And
we
it's
don't
very
even
unfortunate
compete.
that it's Ramzan and we don't get to see Ramdan Kareem as well. That's just super, super
Oh,
unfortunate. It just, shows us that we're gonna be missing, like, a lot of these players soon. Like soon, like
yeah.
Tony, Luca, they're gonna be gone. and we're left with the youngsters who are amazing. But you know what? Let's just not forget Old Madrid. And again, we're discussing El Clasico. So, we sorry, not the El Clasico. We're discussing the Champions League. So that's something that we cannot forget, because Prime Madrid in the Champions League was mint. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
I'm eagerly waiting for April to start already, because that's where it's gonna be intense. It's gonna be
Mm-hmm.
crazy, and I don't know my state of mind after April, because it's not gonna be easy to take up loss after loss, because it's always April, May. Those 2 months have always been hectic, and I'm pretty sure it's gonna be
Mm-hmm.
once again a very hectic finish. Thank you,
I
Alia,
got
for
my
being on the show for the
practicals
first
and
time.
my finals during those months. So the results of these matches pretty much is, my mental sanity and everything depends on these matches. So how I score
Yeah.
in my finals depends on Real Madrid. I'm counting on you boys. That's all I'm gonna say.
I think we'll send a clip of this video to Real Madrid official accounts by saying that you can save a
Thank
kid
you.
from graduating, or whatever you want to do.
Yes,
You can just do that. So it's all up
absolutely, it's
to you.
necessary. We've
Agreed.
got to see
Thank
how
you.
crucial it is.
I mean, I agree. I mean, it's not easy. In mental state of every sports fan is of their
Mm-hmm.
team's benefit, right? Their team has got it in their hands. If their team does well, their mood is good. They do everything really good. After
Mm-hmm.
a bad weekend, the next day on a Monday, how bad it is for all the sports fans to even go. It's the
I
worst feeling
cannot.
in the world. It's the worst feeling in the world. And I've
Absolutely.
had it multiple times. And being a Barca fan and the recent fan, I support Barca and City, right? So for me,
Yeah,
it's
that
been
that
really
that
hard.
by itself is a joke. So you don't really need to elaborate, because I guess everyone knows what you're talking about. It's very obvious.
Yeah, obviously. In the recent past, at least, it's been pretty bad. But as a City
Hmm.
fan, City kind of, neutralizes things. So that's my good thing. Last season when Barca won the last season was really good. Barca won La Liga, City won treble. This season, if City takes on Barca in the
Why are we
final,
talking about the
I think
past?
I'll win.
Why are we talking about the past? Let's talk about the present. What's Barca
We'll talk
been
about the
doing
present.
now?
Just talking about the present and the present future. If Barca take on
Right.
City in the final, I think I'll stop.
That's
I know
not
what's that game.
happening.
I know what's a game. But she said it's not happening. But either ways, if that happens, that's gonna be one crazy game. If it doesn't happen,
Hmm.
I'm hoping for a El Clasico final or City take on
Absolutely.
Atletico Madrid and we go smash Saul. So that's what I'm hoping. We have a few things to settle there. But either ways,
Hmm.
thank you, Alia, on your debut on Boomer 11. I
Thank you
hope you
so
enjoyed it,
much. Thank you so
and
much
we'll
for having
definitely have
me.
your opinion. Obviously, it's a pleasure having you, and we'll continue to have you about, obviously, as I mentioned, we'll hopefully have you before that first fixture, and we'll continue to
Hmm.
have you with a lot of things as well. With United on the other end, we'll talk about United very soon. Alia's opinion on United, we'll take that as
Well,
well.
that's something I'm not ready to talk about yet. There's just a lot of trauma that stems from that particular place, and unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to give my unsolicited opinion, because again, let's face it, we're just not doing well. So it's going to be really hard to support Manchester United on a live stream. This is the hardest thing I'm probably ever going to do.
We'll talk about the problems rather. We'll talk about the problems and how ETH can answer it.
Mhm.
We'll shoot an episode for that. We'll get in one more United fan, so you both can share your own thoughts in that. So thank you, Alia, once again.
Absolutely.
Have a good night, and we'll see
Thank
you
you so
soon.
much
And
for having me.
like this video and also subscribe to our channel if you're new here, and also check out our app, the Boomer 11. You can play the Champions League fixtures and also the ongoing La Liga fixtures and the Premier League, and the international friendly starts in a week's time. And also, to add to which, also mentioning you guys, IPL also starts in a week, so check that out as well. Have a good night, all of you. See you all very soon. Bye bye.